Yesterday we ended off that Yishmael Reb Yossi was sick and he was dying, and they wanted to know three things that they could say over in the name of his father, Reb Yossi, Reb Yossi Mechalafta, who was the author of Seder Olam. And one of the things he said was that 180 years before the Churban Bayis, that Pashta Romans took over. So today's daf basically is going to be very much all calculations. It's going to be calculations of ancient history. And if we begin with the first, now I have a great chart because I made it up myself. Of everything that occurred. So you see my handwriting, Kenny? You're my guy. You see my handwriting there? Yeah. You don't see my handwriting? You see Svarim?
You see your handwriting.
You see Rabbi Eliezer Stern?
Yes.
Okay, good. So why are you shaking your head? You don't see my handwriting. What is that? What do you think that is? Okay, I'm sorry. It's Friday afternoon. I'm sure you started early, so I don't know why I'm asking. Anyway, okay, so you see that, right? Okay, now you don't see that. Now you do. These are the years of the Churban Abayis Sheni, the years that they ruled. Now, 34 years they ruled, but they really started, the rule over Klal Yisrael started 6 years before. They ruled in Elam. So 36 and 34 is 40. That's going to come into play later on. But for all purposes, for the Cheshbon, 34 years Persian rule, 180 years Greek rule, 130 years of the Chashmonayim, and 130 years of Hurdis. During this time, of course, was Kufus Rome, right? We said that the Romans had made a peace treaty with us, a total of 420 years. Now, the Gemara's kasha is going to be, you said it's 180 years since that the Romans ruled. If you look, it's 103, 103. It's a total of 206. You see my cheshbon over there, guys? It's a total 103, 103 is 206. So how can you tell me it's 180 years of Roman rule when it was 206? And the answer is yesterday's daf. For 26 years, the Romans, they were Bemnusa. We were equals, right? We went together. And it's only after 26 years did Esav go ahead and take the forefront. So therefore, if you take 206 and you minus 26, you get 180. So that's the first part of the daf. It's the first part of the daf, and we'll see a Ramban, Bez Hashem. So we're starting on Zion Amid Beis, the bottom line. Meush Shmonim, there was 180 years that the Romans ruled over the Jews. Visu, yes, Kenny.
It's not Zion, it's Ches Amid Beis.
Okay, Ches Amid Beis, I'm sorry.
Just for clarity in the index.
Ches Amid Beis. Meush Shmonim, 180. Visuloi, and there wasn't any more than 180. 1 second. But Tani Rabbi Yossi Berebi, Malchus Paras, the Malchus of Persia, Bifnei Abayis, is Shloishim Ba'arba Shana, 34 years, and it was 18 years afterwards. Malchus Yavan, Bifnei Abayis, Meu Shmoine Shana, 180. Malchus Chashmonoim Bifnei Abayis, Mea Ushloisha, 103. Malchus Beis Hurdis, Mea V'Sholish, Mikam Ve'elech Tzei V'Choshev Kam Eshonim Ach Churban Abayis. Alma, Masayim V'Sheish Have, guys. Ve'at Amit Mea Ushmoinim. You say that what? That it was 180, as we can see from the chart, it really was 103, 103. It was 206. Ella, Esim V'Sheish Shonim, the 26 years, Kamoi Behim Nusayu, that the Romans they believed the Jews, that in other words, they were equals, but had they Yisrael, when they were Neman be Yisrael, V'lo Yishtabu B'hu, and they weren't Mishtabe, they weren't oppressing them. It's not considered, since those 26 years, they didn't oppress us, it's not considered 20 of the 180 years, the Malchus, when the Malchus was Pashta, literally spreading over or oppressing Klal Yisrael. That's the cheshbon. Okay, now there was a cheshbon of the Greeks. It was 34 years before the bias and 18 years during the bias, a total of 52. So there's a very nice Ramban. I thought it's appropriate. I saw this Sully Weinstein shared it. If you look at, you see the Hebrew letters. Yeah, great. Okay. Now this guy is in Parshas Vayetze. It's a Ramban in Parshas Vayetze, right? And this Ramban is speaking about this Ramban is discussing the dream of Yaakov Avinu, where Yaakov saw Malachim going up and going down. Right? He saw Malachim going up and Malachim going down. The Aldas Rebbe Eliezer Gadol Haisazois Hamare Keinyan Beis Habesarim LaAvram. This Mara, this dream that Yaakov had, was comparable to the one that Avram. By Avram Avinu, guys, it says Ema Chashecha Gedolim Nefeles. Guys, count. Ema Chashecha Gedolim Nefeles. That Avram saw, not only was he informed about Golus Mitzrayim, he also found out about the 4 Goliaths that'll be oppressed Bnei Yisrael. That which is Bavel, Paras, Madai, Yavon, and Edom. So Avram found out in the Bris Ben Besorim. Again, Ramban's not saying it here. I'm telling you what he's referring to is the lashon of Ema Chashecha Gedolim Nefeles. Tremendous dread fell upon Avram. So just like Avram found out about the 4 Malchuyos, Uma'alasam v'yiridasam, their ascension and their descension, V'zetam Malachei Elikim, that Yaakov saw Malachei Elikim. K'may shenemar b'Daniel, Sar Malchus Yavan, V'Sar Malchus Paras. V'Vtichu, and Hashem is in trusting Yaakov, telling Yaakov, he's ensuring him, Kihu Yis'ala Yiyah Imai, that Hashem will be with him, B'chol Shayelech B'neihem. That's what he says to Yaakov, Ishmaticha B'chol Shatelech. Right, I'll watch you wherever you go. So I'll watch you wherever you go. So he's ensuring Avram that I'll be with you. Assure Yaakov, I'll be with you. V'yishmerenu v'yatzilenu miyadam, and I'm going to go ahead and watch you and save you from their hands. Omru Herlei Hakadosh Baruch Hu Abba Malchuyos Moishlan v'Avdan. 4 Malchuyos they ruled and they lost. Heros Malchus Bavel Oile Shivim Avokim. He saw a Malach walking up 70 steps, V'yored, and then it went down. That's a symbol that Bavel will ascend. It went up, V'yored, and then it went down. 70 years were the years of the oppression of Bavel. V'reu Samalchus Modai, Oile Chamishim Ushnayim Avokim, 52. Agamar says 34. It was 34 before the Churban, 18 during. They oppressed during that time. A total of what? Of 52. V'yored. The Herusa Malchus Yavan, I saw that Malchus Yavan went up and down. Oila Meyo Shmaina, then that was the Paras. Yavan was 180 steps. The Yored. The Herusa Malchus Edom Oila Ben Yored. But Malchus Edom went up and didn't go down because we're still oppressed by the Malchus Edom. Amula Yaakov said Yaakov. Ach el Shaol Turad. Pasuk says to Ach to the Shaol, to the grave they should descend. I'm like Kadosh Baruch who im tagbiu kanesha, don't worry, zog sich nish. In other words, I'm going to go ahead and take care of them. So that Ramban very much is in line with what we're seeing over here, the years of oppression. Okay. Now, so we saw the cheshbon of how it came into Agamara. 180 years, and of course it was 206 minus 26. I just think pedagogically, I'm going to go through the chart and then we're going to see it inside. Okay, I'm going to go through the chart and then we're going to see inside. The Gemara is going to now go through basic arithmetic. Okay, the Gemara is going to go through some basic arithmetic. Do you see a chart? Yes? You have a chart there, guys? Kenny? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. If you want to know how the years of the Churban bias. Now the Gemara makes the following assertion that the Greeks ruled for 36, 34 and 6, right? This is Paras, this is again 6 years in Edom, 34, is a total of 40. And then you began the rule of the Greeks. This was the Persian rule, 34 and 6, Elam. And now you're going to begin the rule of the Greeks. So if you do the cheshbon, it's pretty easy. It's a cheshbon of four. We know it stood for 420 years, and from the Greek rule, it was 380. 380 from the years the Greeks began ruling. Not that they ruled for 380, 300 years from when they began their rule. So you have a discrepancy of 40 years. That's how you knew 38 and 40, because since the Greeks began ruling 40 years, 40, 420 is 380. So now, if a Sefer wrote in a star 300 years from the ruling of the Greeks, you know that what it's year zero of the Churban, right? From that time, it's the time the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. Again, if 380, that's from the time the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. Okay. Now, we're going to disregard. Everyone knows the 100 column. The 100 column is considered the klal. All we have to do is consider the prat. So, if it's written in the star 400, you know it's 20 because it's 20, 380, and 20. If it's written in the star 501, all you have to do is add 20, and you'll know it's the year 121 because you know the 100. So this is a cheat sheet. How to figure out how do you figure out how many years since the Churban? So you would ask the Sefer. The Sefer started from the time the Greeks ruled, and at any time you very easily, if you just use the number of 20, right? The number 20, that's your cheat to figure it out. Assumption is you'll know the 100 column, you won't know the 10 column, and the Mela 380 to get 400 is discrepancy of 20. 400 and 501 is a discrepancy of 121. These are just examples. So you would know parallel to that. Oh, if it's year 400 in the star, it's 20 years after the Churban. If it's year 501, right, then it's 120 years after the Churban. Clear, guys? Guys, yes, 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 yes. Good. Okay, let's see it inside. Says the Gemara. Amra Papa, Ita, hi, Tana. If he makes a mistake and he doesn't know the years of the Churban, how many years since the Churban, V'lo prati kama have, and he doesn't know the prat. Again, he knows the hundreds, but he doesn't know the tens. The Shaila the Safra, he should ask the Sefer, kama ksiv, how did he date the star? From what year of the Malchus of the Greeks? V'nitvu alayu esrin shanin, add 20 years. And you'll find what? You'll find your cheshbon. B'simunecha, zeli esrim shana b'veisecha. Right, that Yaakov told Lot, 20 years I'm in your house. Okay? And conversely, Ita Safra, if the Sefer doesn't know, Nishailu Tana, let him ask the Tana what his cheshbon is, Kama Chashiv, B'nivtza minayo esrim shanim, and subtract 20 years, and he'll find the sum, B'simunecha, Safra b'tzira Tana tuspa'a. The Sefer, he detracts, he minuses, and the Tana goes ahead and adds. Guys, we're good? I can't see everybody. Okay, that was a good cheshbon, right? Okay, good. Now, the next piece, let's do it. I think it's better to do it inside, and then I think it works better. Okay, so let's do this again.
Please, what is it? 20 years. What is that again? The 20 years.
20 years is the cheat. In other words, if you use the number 20, you'll always be able to figure out the year of how many years from the Churban, because he's gonna have his star late, and the star is gonna be from the year 380. 380 was the year the Churban was destroyed. So if in the year 400, that's 20 years later, it's 20 years that the Churban is destroyed. Whatever year you're in, you just add the prat, the klal, you just add the prat. You good? Okay, now, next piece of Gemara, guys. The next piece of Gemara. Let's wait till Yehuda comes here. Yehuda, you back? Okay, now, the Gemara is going to say the first 2,000 years of the world were Tahu, the second 2,000 years were Torah, the third 2,000 years were Yemos HaMashiach. In other words, Mashiach was ready to come in the year 4,000, guys. In the year 4,000. Now, when it says Torah, when did the Torah begin? When did the year of Torah begin? So the easiest thing would say it will begin b'shas Matan Torah. But the problem is, Matan Torah did not take place in the year 2000. Matan Torah took place in the year 2448. That's a given. So now, when exactly does the year Torah begin? We begin when the Nefesh Asher Asu B'charan, the time when Avram Avinu was Megayer people. Avram was born in the year 1948. So 1948 and 52, Avram Avinu was year 2000. Avram was 52 years old, and he's teaching people Torah. That's when the year 4000. That's when the year 2000 begins. Avram was born in 1948. 52 years later, it's the year 2000. That's when the year of Torah begins. Now, how do you know the cheshbon that the Torah was given in 2248? Guys, beautiful. Watch. Avram was 52 in the year 2000. I hope you're watching. I'm pointing it out with the mouse. So Avram Avinu, he was born in the year 48, and he is 52 years, right? 52 is 2000. 48 years later, Avram is 100 years old, correct? Guys, 48 years later, right? 48 and 52 is 100. What's the significance of 100? Because Yitzchak was born when Avram was 100. So Yitzchak was born in what year? The year 2048. Avram was born in 1948. Yitzchak was born in 248. Good. What does it say in the Bris Bein Abasarim? V'avdu v'inoisam arba me'ah shana. What do we know? When does that arba me'ah shana, guys, count from? The birth of Yitzchak. Mela, if Yitzchak was born in the year 2448, and you'll be in Mitzrayim for 400 years, so therefore, when was Torah given? In the year 2448. Right? It's a pretty simple cheshbon. Pretty simple cheshbon. Let's see it inside. Tana be'Eliyahu, Shisha alafim shana havei olam. The world's going to be 600 years. Shnei alafim tahu. The first 2,000 years will be without Torah. Tahu means black, but means without Torah. Shnei alafim Torah. The next 2,000 years will be Torah. Shnei alafim Yemos HaMashiach. The next 2,000 years will be Yemos HaMashiach. But however, Bavasenu Sherabu Yotzamehem Masha Yotzamehem. Again, guys, we're in the year 5,781. That's a lot of years since 4,000, right? It goes on. Shnei alafim Torah me'emas. When does the 2,000 years of Torah begin? Inema, if you're going to say Mimatan Torah ad hashta leka kulehai. When you look into it, Trey Alfe Uprate. You can find 2,000 and Pratim. Guys, meaning you find 2,000 plus 448. You're gonna find other years besides the 2,000. So you can't tell me that the years of Torah began b'shas Matan Torah, because that you're finding more than the year 2000. You're finding 2448. The high alpha who the have. Ella meves hanefesh she'asu b'charan. When are we going to make the cheshbon? From the years that Avram was in Charan. V'gemiri da Avram b'yishaita bar chamishim v'tarti. Avram was 52 years at the time. Kama batzrin miditani tana. What are you missing from Matan Torah? Arba meya v'abayim t'man shana. 448 years. When you look from the nefesh she'asa b'charan to Matan Torah, it's arba meya v'abayim t'man shana. It's going to be what? 2448. Again, Avram was born in 1948. Yitzchak was born in 2048. And Avram is informed that the birth of by the Bris Bein Abasarim, you're going to be 400 years in Mitzrayim. We learn from the birth of Yitzchak, guys. It doesn't say he'll be in Mitzrayim. You'll see you'll be in Golus. Avram Avinu goes to Eretz Pelishtim with the birth of Yitzchak. Him going to Eretz Pelishtim is tantamount to Golus. And that's why it begins with the birth of Yitzchak. That's the connection. Why the birth of Yitzchak? Because he lived in Kaviyachal in Gaza. That's where he lived, in Gaza. Right? He lived in Gaza, in the Eretz Pelishtim. He lived over there. So therefore, that 400 years, and now you have it's year 2048 plus 400 is Geshmak. That's when it began. Good? Okay, the next cheshbon. You want to calculate how many years from 4,000 Mashiach could have come? Again, we're saying what? We're saying that the year 4,000 is when Mashiach could have came. How do you? Is there a quick way to cheat to say how many years it's been? So the Gemara is going to give a cheshbon of 48. Now, the Churban Bayis took place in the year 3,828. The Churban Bayis took place in the year 3,828. So 4,000 is the year of Mimos Mashiach. So 172 before the possibility of Mashiach coming, the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. Good. So now, if the Sofer has, again, the Sofer in his star, guys, is always going to have a cheshbon of what? 380 from the time of the ruling of the Greeks, right? That's our given, correct? That's our given. 300 ruling of the Greeks. So now, if you add 172, which again, 172 is going to make it a round number, so 380 plus 172 is 552. If you add 48 to 552, you get the round number 600. So very geschmack. 48 is your go-to number. If it said 600 in the star, then it's year 48 in the year 4000. Or 48 years when Mashiach could have came. If it says 610 in the star, then it's 58 years. If it says 710 in the star, right, it's 158. Whatever it is. So 48 is the go-to number. 48 is the go-to number to figure out how many years we've eaten up when Mashiach could possibly have came. Says the Gemara. Let's see it inside. Amra Papa ki itoi Tana. If the Tana over here means not a Tana, it means the ones who would say over the Bryces Balpeh, right? V'layada prati kamahave, right? If you didn't know, again, we know he assumes he knows the general 100 number. He doesn't know the tens. So if he doesn't know, Shaili L'Safra, ask the Sefer in his star, Kamek Siv. What did he write in his star? V'nitvu alayu abayim b'tamne. And he had 48. U'mishkachas lo l'chum, and then you'll get your sum. V'simunecha amid beis, and your siman is abayim mishmoyna ir, like the 48 cities of the Levium. So you have a number 48, a mnemonic. V'itoy Safra, and let's say conversely, that's the Sefer doesn't know. Nishailu Tana, let him ask the Tana. Kama, what's your number? What's your cheshbon? The Ketani, he'll tell it. The Nifsaminayu Arbu Shmoina, and he'll detract 48, minus 48. Umeshkachas L'Lechuma, he'll get his sum. The Simunecha, Safra B'tzira, the Sefer, his Botzer, he's less. And Tanam to Spa, and the Tana, he adds on. Okay? Another cheshbon. This chart's working well. Baruch Hashem. You want to figure out the year of Shemitah, guys. What year of Shemitah we're in? What year of Shemitah we're in? Okay? So to calculate Shemitah, you take the year that you're in and you add 1. The reason you're adding 1 is that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed in the first year of the Shemitah cycle. But it was destroyed 9 months into the Shemitah cycle, or more than 9 months, almost close to a year. So be'emes, you're going ahead and making a cheshbon from the second year of the Shemitah cycle. So you're counting 1, right? Because you're adding an additional 1. So let's say we're speaking in the year 5756. You add 1, that gives you the year 5757. Good. Now you go ahead and minus the years since the Churban Bayis. The Churban was 3828. So if you're in the year 5757, it's 1929 years since the Churban, right? You got that? 5757 is your current year, and 3828 is the year of the Churban. You subtract that, you're getting 1929. Now, you take the klal. This is what the Gemara is going to say. You take the klal. The klal is 1900, right? 1900 is the klal. You divide it by 50, which is the years of a Shemitah cycle, and you get 38. A yovel, excuse me. 50 is a yovel. So you get what? 38. Good. You then go ahead and take the prat, which is 29, and you're going to add that together. 38 and 29 is 67. You're then going to divide it by the number of a Shemitah of Shemitah. 7 into 6, 7 will give you 9 Yoivlois and 4 years of Shemitah. Again, you're taking the year you're in. I picked this year. You're taking the year of the Churban, you're subtracting it. Then you're taking the 100 column and dividing it by Yovel. 38 Yovel of 1900 is 1900, or 38 times 2. And then you also, after you take that, you're dealing with the Prat, which is 29. That's the tens. You go ahead, Rat, and you take the 38 and the 29, it gives you 67. 7 is years of Shemitah. You divide that, you get 9.4, which is 9 Yovlos. And now we know we're in the 4th years of the Shemitah cycle. Let's see what we got now. Hi Mandala, the Amar Afuna, Bered Rav Yeshua. Hi Mandala Yoda Kamashnei B'Shavua, who I made. He doesn't know which year of the Shemitah cycle he's holding in. Nitvu Chad Shasa. Let him add 1 year, because again you're going to start from the 2nd year. V'nechshav Klali B'Yoivlei Uprote B'Shvuyei. Consider the klalim of Yovel. In our number, guys, it was 1929. The klal was 1900. Uprote, which is 29. The nishkal min meya trey, nishade aparti. We would take from meya 2 and throw it on the prat. Let's see that. You're taking the meya over here, the 38. You're throwing it on the prat, the 29, right? Throwing it on the prat and the 29. And and then consider that amount based upon the 7-year Shemitah cycle. And you'll know how many years you're in. So we know in this case you're in the 4th year of the Shemitah cycle. Again, whatever number you put there, this is a very easy calculation. You add 1, then you minus the year of the Churban, whatever number you get. First you consider the hundreds, the 1,000 and the hundreds, and then you consider the 10 separately. Add that together, divide by 7, that will give you the year of the Shemitah cycle. Okay? Bisimanecha, kizesh nesayim harav b'kerev haaretz. It's already 2 years harav b'kerev haaretz. I guess the nesayim. Amrav Chanina. Achar abar meyas l'churban habayis. After the churban bayis 400 years, im yom lecha adam. If a person tells you kach sada shava 1,000 dinarim, take this field that's worth 1,000 b'din rechav for one dina, lesikach. Don't do it. Because you know why? You're going to lose it right away. Here's Rabbi Nichin's cheshbon, guys. 3828 and 4,000, 4228. He said, you make the cheshbon, it's the year before Shemitah, you're going to lose your field. So you're getting a good deal, but you're not getting to keep it a long time. Tana Echad, another Tana, not Reb Chanina, says, not 4228, but what does he say? Arbas alafim u'masayim u'shalish, 4,231. All right, Librias Oilam. If in the year 4231 to Librias Oilam, that year, if he tells you to give a deal, and Yom Adam kach sada shave 1,000 dinarim b'dina echad atikach. My binayu, it can be nayu, guys. What's the difference? You can see it. It's 3 years. 4231 versus 4228. The difference what is 3 years. The Masnisan. The Brisa, Tafa Tlashne, it's on 3 years over Reb Chanina. Guys, good? The cheshbon was good? Right? You saw it in front of you, everything was clear. Now, going back in time, the beginning of the daf, remember that we got the year of 40. Remember, 38, and we got the year 40 because 6 years they ruled in Elam over Klal Yisrael. So they began ruling 6 years over Elam before Klal Yisrael. It's a total of 40, 34, and 6. Okay? Keep that in mind for the next piece of Gemara. Keep that in mind for the next piece of Gemara, and everything will become glad. Ahushtara, there was the star. Rabbi Ksivbei, that was written in the star. Shishnin, you say Rasa. It was 6 years post-dated. In other words, that let's say the star was written the year 1990, and it was dated 1996. It was 6 years. So no, it's a post-dated. Zorah Rabbanan Kamed Rav Lameimar, Hai Shtar Mu'uchahu. This is a Shtar Mu'ucha. In other words, and no one will be able to collect any the Mishibodim. If the Loiva would have sold anything from 1990 to 1996, there would not be a Shibud because the loan only began in 1996, and therefore the properties were not indentured to the Malva at that time. So Haishtar Mu'uchahu, Na'akve Adamate Zmani, let's hold it until 1996. Like Tarif, and therefore he won't be able to be Tarif. Amrav Nachman, Hai Safra Duknona Kasve. This Safra who wrote 1996 is Meduyik very much. V'hanach Shishnin de Melcha be'elam. He was considering the 6 years that they ruled in Elam. He was considering the 6 years that they ruled in Elam. In other words, everything is considered from the from the years of the rule of the Paras. You started from the years the ruling of the Greeks. So they considered the 6 years. And who we don't consider it, and who and he did it. And therefore he really wrote it. He wrote it in the right time because he considered the 6 years that they ruled in Elam. The Tanya Rabbi Yossi Omer, she shona mocha be'elam. Rabbi Yossi is again the Baal Seder Olam. 6 years they ruled in Elam. And then eventually they spread out the Yavan to the rest of the world.